And yeah, in this video, I'm going to talk about the interesting ecosystem of podcasting and compare the ecosystem of podcasting to YouTube. Also, before that, if you would like to receive more videos about analysis of technology, don't forget to subscribe. And yeah, let's back to our topic. When I was researching podcasts, I basically tried to build up my own podcast for testing purposes, and I found out it's really troublesome to just upload one podcast because the podcasting world is just doesn't like videos. Videos, there's basically only one platform for long form videos, which is YouTube. You just really need to upload your videos, and YouTube will do all the job for you. Then you will distribute it to the YouTube system, and people can search and people can see that from recommendation system. But in the podcast world, you need to upload your podcast to a hosting website, then generate a certain link, which they call RSS. Then you upload your RSS to podcast platforms like Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, and Spotify. So it's really, really different. So what that means is Spotify, Apple, Google, actually, they don't host your podcast. Your podcast was the source of your audio file. It's actually uploaded in the hosting website. That's the place where your podcast really live. And the Google other platforms, they just get this link and direct the viewer to this link behind the scene. So that's really, really different. Imagine if you upload YouTube video, you actually are not uploading the video. You actually just give YouTube a link, then YouTube will embed your video to YouTube platform. This is super weird. The reason of that is the nature of, I think there's just some historical reason they make podcast this way. And there's a good thing. One good thing for that is just more difficult for platforms to really do monopoly to exclusive content, because usually people will have just one hosting website. They will upload to many platforms, but that's just because now it's just the beginning. There's no clear winner of podcasting world, and so far Google, Apple Podcast and Spotify are the biggest share market, have the biggest market share, but it's just not one clear winner. So before they show up, people will just upload to a hosting website. There are a lot of hosting websites, and I do believe in the future, if there's really one platform and standing out, there will be hosting and the distribution solution. They combine both, which will just like you upload your podcast to Spotify, then it just works like a YouTube. You will distribute your podcast and hosting at the same time. Okay, so that's I think one very interesting difference between YouTube and the podcast. And the podcast field is just still evolving. It used to be, I mean, even now, for the most part, you need to upload in your podcast and distribute it to many platforms. But in recent, I think 1 year, there are more and more startups doing the distribution, automate the distribution work, which means you just need to upload your podcast to their hosting website. Then they will automatically distribute your podcast to many platforms. But this may not last too long, because I can imagine the Spotify, some other podcast platforms, they may want people to just upload the podcast on their platform only. So that's why they will probably develop their own hosting websites, own hosting solutions. Then just trying to let you use their platform and their platform only. And yeah, it's really interesting to see this field evolve in the next few years. And that's what I observed and what I find interesting so far. And if you would like to receive more content like this, don't forget to subscribe. And other than that, I will see you next time.